Sasha Banks is back in action. The Gun Club looks great in the main event of Rampage, and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns go face to face in their last meeting before the Royal Rumble. This is the Wrestling Never Sleeps podcast. Well, what an exciting night of Friday wrestling in North America. I am your boy, Jared Never Sleeps. Of course, with my co-host with the most, the coach, Travis Lillard from West Virginia. And we're coming to you live for the review of Friday, January 28th, 2022, WWE Smackdown and Rampage. Travis, how you doing tonight? We got the 3 hours of wrestling.
I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, here in West Virginia, we get snow a lot this time of year. Got out of work early, came home, got a little nap in, and suffered through 2 hours of SmackDown and then a very exciting hour of Rampage. I can't wait to break this down.
Yeah. As I say every week, WWE, they should call these shows a weird way to find out that you hate yourself. So let's let me start off. Let me first by saying one thing. We just got done with watching Rampage, and the show ended with they're called the Ass Boys, the Gun Club. They're called. I feel like that was actually a better ending than SmackDown had. So it's really crazy that you can have guys named the Ass Boys have a better showing than superstars like megastars like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. So it's like AEW didn't have the star power at all tonight, but they still had the better show, if that makes sense. You kind of get what I'm saying?
I do, and I think it's one thing that helps is even though they didn't have that star power, it was packed with action.
Yeah.
It was not necessarily storylines that really worked along that hour that they helped kind of take that 1 hour and put it in your face and keep you on the edge of your seat. With SmackDown, so much crap happened, and I mean, I do have to say I enjoyed that last part. I enjoyed the segment with Reigns and Rollins. I thought it did what it needed to do, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I mean, I agree. I sat there and eyes on the entire hour of Rampage, and I could not watch, other than that last segment, 5 minutes straight of anything else on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's very easy
without getting on my phone.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Watching SmackDown, it's very easy to just scroll on Instagram or Twitter and just kind of zone out the show. But there were some things that happened on the show. A lot of storyline advancements. First thing, they opened the show. Charlotte Flair comes out, and in my notes I wrote down Charlotte Flair looks like a star. She just really. It's kind of like the Britt Baker type of thing where Britt Baker is just above everybody else. And Charlotte is really just above everyone else. And then they had this contrived interview segment where it was Charlotte and then Shotzi Blackheart came out and Shayna Baszler came out. I hate Shayna Baszler's new music, by the way. I don't know why they keep on changing the music around. But Aaliyah came out. Natalya was there. And then we got the big reveal that apparently Sasha Banks is back from injury and she's going to be entering in the Royal Rumble. Now, I'm sure you're excited to see Sasha back, but do you think they should have saved this surprise for the Rumble, or was this something good to fill in the show?
I think it'd have been great to have that surprise at the Rumble. I hope that they have some namesakes like that they can pull out at the Rumble. But I think they really needed something with going into the Women's Royal Rumble match to really hook people at the last minute. I mean, no matter what, people are going to watch a Rumble match. We've been saying that for weeks now. Like
Right.
that is what this whole pay-per-view is about. No matter what the other matches are, whatever the undercard is, people are going to watch for the Rumble matches.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it would have. I don't think it hurt anything. I think people now are excited because Sasha Banks is in it. Um, get back to the Charlotte thing, I definitely agree. I mean, every week she comes out looking like what she's supposed to be, the queen, right?
Yeah.
Taking a shot out of her dad's playbook, where come out just like $1 million. People are gonna think you're $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, it's tough because it just seems like Charlotte is in a place of her own, and I guess I know in the what do they call it? They don't call house shows anymore. They're called something else. They're called like live events. Yeah, live events. I know Sasha's been working with Charlotte a lot, so I wonder if that's going to be the WrestleMania matchup. Maybe that's night one of the main event.
I mean, I can definitely see that. I see Sasha and Charlotte, and then I mean, I can't help but think Bianca's gonna have her shot on the other side. So.
Bianca, Becky get her redemption from SummerSlam.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's also kind of crazy that they had to reveal a lot of the names because they need to sell tickets for the Royal Rumble. Like I feel like the Royal Rumble is something that always like sold tickets by itself. But the women's Royal Rumble, they could have had a lot of surprises on that, and they just had to let them out because they want to kind of create buzz. But that's kind of funny because it's a big four pay-per-view. Like usually the buzz is that it's the Royal Rumble, but now they're like, hey, we'll let you know Mickie James is going to be there. We'll let you know Lita's going to be there, and the Bella Twins, and now Sasha.
Right. All things like you said. I mean, that could have been huge the night of. Huge pops, but now
giant pop. Yeah.
But you also got to fill that stadium. I believe it's in a stadium, right?
Yeah, I think it's like in a baseball stadium now.
Right. So they've got a bunch of seats they have to fill, but again, as we've said, and you just reiterated, it's the Rumble. I know the Rumble I went to in 2014, I didn't really care what the matches were. I knew I was going to see the Royal Rumble.
It's the freaking Rumble.
There's nothing like joining in the crowd with that 10-second countdown.
Yeah.
Not knowing who's coming out, right? Not knowing who the surprises are going to be, because traditionally there's a couple spots where you're like, okay, there's 2, there's 3, there's whatever, and surprises. But then also sometimes they'll just announce a name and that person's never actually in the Rumble. They replace them last minute with somebody that they. Just like every year, I'm excited for the matches, and I'm excited to see who the surprises are, even though we've got a lot of our surprises spoiled.
Yeah, but maybe they have bigger surprises. Ronda Rousey.
I believe that's a strong possibility.
Very strong possibility. We shall see. And then moving forward, so then we had on SmackDown side, we had Ridge Holland and Sheamus versus Ricochet and Cesaro. And what I found funny about this match is, the day one pay-per-view when Holland, he got his nose broken by Ricochet, he just went in the back. He was like, screw it. He went to the back or whatever. And Sheamus ended up winning that match. So I was kind of confused as the booking here, because it's like, all right, well, if Sheamus can beat the both of them by himself, then why run this as a tag team match? Because he can beat them by himself. But, I get there was an injury or whatever, but that kind of messed up the dynamic of this match, I think.
Yeah, I guess it's just so Ridge Holland maybe could be involved in getting a little bit of revenge. But like you said, I mean, it doesn't make any sense for them to come back. Obviously, they're going to get the win, if you want to put any kind of realism inside your storyline.
Yeah.
And they did. And, he got his nice little broken face mask.
You got the Sheamus mask.
Undertaker, Sheamus, and whoever else has had it on.
Miami LeBron.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, there was a part of me that just didn't really care for this match. I love Ricochet. Sheamus has had a storied career. Cesaro is great, but there was no reason to really be invested in this match. You're just kind of guys having a match for no reason.
I agree. Of course, Ricochet, Cesaro, and Sheamus are all amazing wrestlers that been in the business for years. Ridge Holland, I have nothing against him. I just haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah,
I think he's got a future, but It just goes to show you that no matter who the names are in it, if you just have a match that's thrown together and it's this rinky dink thing that, oh, he broke his nose, let's just throw it together again and try to redo it. Maybe if it was the first time they ever wrestled each other, it'd been something I was looking a little bit more forward to, but I didn't find myself caring.
The booking of Ricochet really kind of grinds my gears because I love Ricochet. He's so unique. He can fly. He can do flips. He can do all this cool stuff. And, he's a commodity, and they just don't have anything good to do for him. Like, I don't understand how they don't see any type of, like, potential in Ricochet. It makes no sense to me.
The thing that blows my mind is, I mean, that both of them guys, Ricochet and Cesaro. I mean, Cesaro's shown time and time again the fans have his back. He can be entertaining. He's not the most, vocal, most charismatic guy ever, but he's definitely got a gimmick that people get behind, or a character that people get behind, and they always have been. Ricochet, the same thing. He's not a strong mic guy. Give him a manager, or just let him go out there and do his thing. The people are going to be behind him, but they just don't really give him a chance to do their thing. I say that, and here they are on TV most weeks, but there's a difference between letting a guy shine and just placing him in matches like this, where we gave him a spot.
Yeah, there's definitely levels. Like, okay, yeah, he's on
Right.
TV, but he really should be. He could be upper mid card, solid mid card champion. He could, because even look at the Intercontinental Championship. They're not doing anything with that. It's just been on Shinsuke forever.
Right.
The United States title is just like, okay, Damian Priest has it, but it's like whatever. Doesn't mean anything.
Amen.
It means nothing. And then after that, we had the match. The match that had a year-long build. Sonya Deville versus Naomi. And I wrote in my notes, this is the worst put-together match that I've seen. I'm gonna go first on this. Let me get my air out this match.
Please
okay. Do. So in this feud, in this storyline, Naomi versus Sonya Deville, it still has never been explained why Sonya Deville hates Naomi for no reason. Why she picks on her, why she puts her on all these messed up situations. It has not been explained. So now they get to the match. Say Naomi's been bullied by her boss for the good part of it. What is it like? Has it been a year now? Has it been a year? Okay, she's been bullied by the boss. It's like a blood feud now. And so let's start off even with her entrance. Her entrance against the person that she hates the most. She comes out with the glow sticks and she has the dance and the jacket. I feel like she should have came out and like took her earrings off and just been serious and go to the ring. Like just make it a little bit more real because this person's been tormenting you for like a year.
Right.
So then they get in the ring. Oh, let me backtrack. So then Sonya Deville tries to get the ref on her side in the back, but it's clearly, hey, there's a camera in front of you guys. We can see what you're saying. So she's trying to buy off the ref in front of a camera as if we can't see what they're saying. So it's like, okay, that's a little bit we can make this a little bit more real here. I get it's a fake show, but like let's have the storylines suspend disbelief.
Right, play it out after.
You're right. So then they get in the ring and I'm waiting for like a the hockey fight type of vibe, whatever. And it's kind of like, okay, I get Sonya's playing the heel, the chicken shit heel, and she's going behind the ropes, whatever. But she gets the upper hand on Naomi without cheating at all. Like there was no like thumb to the eyes, behind the ref's back. There was no. Well, I guess you can't do a low blow in a women's match, but just something where okay, Sonya's cheating to get the upper hand, and there was just none of that. And then and I love Naomi. Naomi to me is one of the most athletic superstars in that women's division. And again, I say this stuff with a grain of salt because I've never been in the ring, but you could just see her talking to Sonya the entire time. Like there was like 3 or 4 times where you just see her just like talking and calling out her spots, and it became like very, very sloppy. But the right person won, but then it turned out to like, all right, Sonya announced that she's in the Royal Rumble, and nobody really cares about that. Like no, she's not gonna win, and I don't think anyone was even cares for this feud to keep on going. So it was just like really like it just put both of these people in like really bad spots, and I didn't like it at all. What were your thoughts on this whole segment thing in the match?
Well, we're on the same page. I remember a couple weeks ago when I was last on a SmackDown review that we did that talking about that damn jacket.
Oh god, and the jacket,
and it came into play again tonight. She had to put the jacket back on before she announced the whole her being in the Royal Rumble. But
it's like an invisible cloak.
Again, I think that Sonya is not the best in the ring, and she got lost through the match, like you said, and I think that she really relied heavily on Naomi, who is
a vet. But at this point, she's a veteran.
Yeah, she's the veteran. She's got plenty of in-ring experience, and it showed. And it's unfortunate that it was live, and it just wasn't a good match. It went way too long for me, for what they had to be able to put into it. And not just the match went too long, but the build went too long. Didn't make any sense.
And it's still going.
Yeah, that's true. It's going right into tomorrow night. And I'm sure they'll be involved with somehow eliminating each other or something just to torture us even more next week on SmackDown.
For it to keep going. A feud that has not been explained to anybody yet. And
maybe if somebody can burn the jacket, the feud will be over.
Yeah, right. Or maybe like Naomi lands on the jacket, so her feet technically didn't touch the ground. She does those random spots in the Royal Rumble, the Kofi spots.
You just booked it, man.
Book it, Vince. # book it, Vince. But yeah, this was top to bottom. The story's was bad. The match was just really awful, and I'm really curious to know like who was the agent for this match, because it just didn't make any type of sense. From a storyline standpoint, it made no sense.
It never does. Not with the storyline.
I forgot. It's WWE. It never makes sense. It never makes sense. So, speaking of not making sense, we have Big E and Kofi Kingston, and they get interviewed backstage by Caleb Braxton. And they mention that Big E is officially back on SmackDown. No one has explained this. No one has made any mention of him switching brands. He's been going off of Raw for like 2 weeks, but now he's back on SmackDown. And we were joking in the Wrestling Never Sleeps group. We said that Big E's back, and then we said he was hiding in 2019 because he's in the same exact spot that he was 2 years ago. So they have a match against Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss. And they get the win, but what's going on with this here?
I think we're being very optimistic about the whole Big E thing. They're keeping him off TV to try to let the whole loss to Brock Lesnar die. Let it live itself out and let him come back and be just as big and bad and on top as what he was. But all hopes of that kind of died tonight. When it's let's go back for the 7,000th time and let's tag with Kofi. First, they mentioned this is the first time in 18 months that they've tagged together, which that's fine. And I don't know if this means that Big E's back on SmackDown forever, or if it's I'm on SmackDown because tomorrow night's the Rumble. I don't know, but I have this sneaky gut feeling that this officially showed that Big E's push is dead. Just like Kofi's died and they went back to the New Day.
Same exact thing. They never elevated. They went right back to where they were.
Title reigns come and go, but New Day lives forever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel bad for Biggie because I really thought he was somebody that could have been a main eventer, a WrestleMania main eventer. And they keep on taking that away from him. And it just kind of like, why does WWE hate making new stars? Like, I don't understand why they don't want to make any new stars anymore.
They give him a little bit of a chance, and then something slips or whatever, and they take it away from him, and then we get Roman or Lesnar or Rollins,
or Goldberg.
Don't even.
Yeah.
But the most recent people that they've really made is Roman and Rollins. Since the Shield, nobody's ever really, unless I'm completely blanking here, stepped up. I mean, you're talking they came in 2013, 2013,
Like 2012,
somewhere.
2013, I think.
2012,
Yeah.
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 So and of course it took them a couple years to build them up, but uh, nobody of any significance has come since then to represent the company. If you look at AEW's champions right now, everybody is somebody that has been with AEW either since Dynamite started or has come along since the start of Dynamite. So I think that's two different philosophies with the business, and they have some of the biggest names that's left WWE in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But their champions and the faces of their company are people that they've made. Guevara, Page, you know, I don't
Cargill.
know if that, yeah, and I don't know if that's
Jurassic Express.
right. I mean, literally every champion right now.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's not.
Britt Baker,
Yeah. It's all AEW made.
right?
But I think ultimately, and I don't understand like how they don't understand this. Ultimately, when you don't make new stars, you hurt your current stars. Like Batman needs the Joker, God
Right.
needs the Devil, Austin needs the Rock. You can't have a superstar without having some type of parody, some type of like equal enemy to them. And when you don't let you guys elevate, it hurts them.
Right. You run into, of course, Reigns or Lesnar or, those 3 to 5 people are going to be champion because there's nobody else that can believably take it off them. So you end up with the 500-day run. You end up with multiple 200, 300-day runs, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I'm a fan of a longer title reign.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era was saturated with reigns that were 2 months long, 1 month long.
Because you had such great talents
to keep it going, right? Because you had everybody under the sun that's now in the Hall of Fame. But
well, you know what? I won't say talent. I will say the booking was a lot better because WWE is probably the most talent filled they've ever been ever, and they have Big E's. They had Braun Strowman's. They had Keith Lee's. They had all these guys. Bray Wyatt. They had these guys. Ricochet, Dolph Ziggler. They have these guys, but they just keep them down. So it's really the booking.
And you think back, you had probably a more in touch with the world group of people, much smaller group of people writing TV.
Yeah.
They gather around Vince McMahon's pool, and let's do this week. It wasn't so dictated. It wasn't so scripted. It was a vision. It was an outline. It was let's do this and let's trust the talents to get this over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Scripts and all that kind of thing. So I think that they've almost damaged themselves because they've overcomplicated the process. They've hired all these writers, and it's really taking and making it hard to watch. It's very hard to watch. I end up on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or something while the show's going on in the background, and I'm supposed to be watching the damn thing so we can talk about it.
Yeah, it's hard, man. So
I've one job, and I had to wait till AEW before I could successfully do it.
Yeah. And what really ultimately sucks is that they're right. WWE is always going to be right because the only metrics they're ever going to look at is how much money they're making.
Right.
And
the
they're
fact they're almost a monopoly. I mean,
yeah,
we have AEW now, but they're still working.
Anything can happen.
Just a percentage. There's still just a percentage of what WWE is if you look at
Yeah.
profit, if you look at all that kind of thing. So, we're getting there, and hopefully at some point they'll feel the pressure from an AEW more than what they do now.
I can't ever see it. It's just like if I went and opened up a freaking hamburger joint up the street, I don't think I can ever get McDonald's level.
Right.
It's very difficult to do. It's so many, especially they've been doing it for so long. I can't.
Right. A little bit of a head start.
They have a long ass head start. They've had the greatest wrestling of the past 100 years. So to start from scratch it'll be tough.
And have I ever mentioned how much I hate Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin? Maybe every time.
I hate them so much. You know what? And you can throw Boogs in there too. I hate him too.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between Boogs and Madcap Moss. I have no idea. They're all the same thing when I'm
One of
scrolling,
them,
I look
right?
up. It's like they're one of them. I don't know.
One of them's Freddie Mercury on steroids.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's
Yeah.
Boogs. That's
Yeah.
Boogs.
But it's just bad.
A lot of tag team matches tonight. Back-to-back tag team matches, actually.
Yeah, you had New Day, New Day versus Madcap Moss and Corbin. You had Ridge Holland and Sheamus versus Ricochet and Cesaro. I assumed that that first segment with the women, I thought it was gonna be like a 3-on-3 main event, trios match or whatever. That didn't happen. And
all the men's matches were tag team matches tonight.
yeah. And then you had the last segment of the night. You had Roman Reigns facing off against Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins comes out looking like the Joker. He had the purple suit on with the green tie, and he's doing his.
And yeah, it goes with that. He's had that laugh for the last few weeks, maybe the last few months, but I've only really been watching the last few weeks, and the old Joker theme tonight went really well with it.
Yeah,
I feel like he overplayed it. He turned it up a notch or two tonight, but.
I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'm gonna address this Seth freaking Rollins, if you will. So he gets in the ring and they're going down Memory Lane, and he's saying that, "Hey, look, Roman, you've never beat me before, dude. I had the most famous Money in the Bank cash in of all time against you. When I came back from injury, I pinned your shoulders to the ground 1, 2, 3." And then Roman just kind of no-selling it. He's not even fazed by his words. But then he hit a chord. He said, "And I put a steel chair to your back, and I broke up the shield." And then you see Roman's face, and he's just like, he's doing the Triple H nose, like he's pepper up his nose or whatever. So he hit a chord. Yeah. So he tells Seth Rollins that he hates him for breaking up the shield, and he destroyed what they built. And Rollins, threatens he's going to take his belt come tomorrow. So then Roman Reigns fakes getting out of the ring. He goes to Superman punch Rollins, and Rollins, he knows his boy too much. He just ducks it and laughs and leaves the ring, that was really, really cool. This was absolutely, obviously, the best segment of SmackDown. What do you think about this whole altercation between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins?
I really liked it. It wasn't drawn out. It was to the point.
Yeah.
It got in there. Rollins started poking the bear, if you will.
Yeah.
And, this is, you say you didn't want the Usos to embarrass them.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot those parts. Yeah. Those are very important. He started going in on his family, his cousins. Yeah.
Right. Because he's never beaten Rollins or whatever. So he, poking the bear with that. And then he reminds him of all the things he did. And like you said, he gets to the point where he talks about hitting him with the chair. And that's where Roman kind of switched. And I love that because it shows a weakness for Roman.
Yeah, vulnerability.
Maybe not a physical weakness, but a mental weakness.
That hurt him. Yeah.
Too much.
Uh-oh. I think we lost the coach. Coach, where you at, man? I'm going to continue this matchup. I'm going to continue the show right here as Coach gets back online. And, so technical difficulties happen. But anyway, one thing I wanted to find out, too, about this is it seemed like that Roman Reigns is kind of going more in the face. He seems like he's turning to a face just because he's kind of pandering to the crowd now. He's saying, "Hey, St. Louis, acknowledge me." And then Seth Rollins is really vicious in talking about this guy's family and saying that, his cousins I'm going to beat up your cousins and your family's stupid and your dad's stupid and all this stuff. So it really makes me believe that they're going into the direction of Roman Reigns turning face. So that kind of makes me think that Seth Rollins could really pick up a victory on Saturday some type of underhanded, heelish way to pick up a victory. And that's going to allow the crowd to get sympathy for Roman Reigns so they can fully turn him babyface. And to kind of parallel that, to what might happen at WrestleMania. So Paul Heyman is still with Brock Lesnar. So Paul Heyman's naturally a heel. So you might have a face Roman Reigns versus a heel Brock Lesnar. And that's a dynamic that we haven't seen before yet. So what do you guys think as well about that? If we can have a face Roman Reigns versus a heel Brock Lesnar. Travis just texted me. But yeah, and one thing I want to say is with the whole Seth Rollins thing, I'm not really too keen on his kind of Joker ripoff gimmick. I did like the cool spot where he kind of showed that he knows Roman Reigns so well that he was able to duck out the Superman punch. But ultimately, I think that Seth Rollins is way too good to be just like a crazy, just dancing character. You could do so much stuff with him. Just make him just a vicious heel, because he's just so good in the ring that he doesn't really need the extra over the top gimmicks. I feel like he can just really stand alone on his talent. He's great at promo. He looks good, and he also has the lineage as being a Royal Rumble winner, as being someone who's been a Universal Champion, defeated Brock Lesnar. He's defeated the Game Triple H. He's been in one of the greatest factions of all time in the Shield. So I really feel like that he can really drop the Seth freaking Rollins stuff. His clothes are cool and stuff, and I know they're kind of inspired by Becky Lynch, but let's let like a lot of his in-ring stuff do the talking for him. What do you guys think about Seth Rollins' gimmick, and what do you guys think about this whole feud between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins? I know that it was something that was kind of thrown together, something that was really that came up out of the blue, especially Seth Rollins is on Monday Night Raw, and Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. And the bigger thing is that Roman Reigns was kind of feuding with Brock Lesnar, and then it turned into a feud with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. So what do you guys really think about this overall feud? Leave some feedback in the comments and let me know. How do you feel about this feud? Was it rushed? Is it perfect? Or do we have to wait on Saturday? And speaking of Saturday, just a quick little plug. We are going to be going live and doing a watch-along for the Royal Rumble. Us, the guys at the Wrestling Never Sleeps podcast channel, we're all going to be getting around, and we're doing a full watch-along. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you also subscribe to Wrestling Never Sleeps. Hit that notification bell to know that when we're dropping videos. We drop videos and reviews for literally every single show for AEW and WWE. So that includes Rampage, Dynamite, SmackDown, and Monday Night Raw. So switching gears, we are going to be talking about, and my partner is still knocked out. We should start the Travis is sleeping chant. Travis sleeping. Travis sleeping. No, he's trying to reconnect. I think his computer died or something like that. But anyway, so let's talk about AEW Rampage for Friday, January 28th. So it starts off with Jon Moxley. He's Jon Moxley's just. Oh, and we're back, people. That was awesome. Little technical difficulties
are my favorite.
Yeah. Sometimes you get thrown off of a Hell in a Cell, but you got to get up and finish the match, brother.
Amen.
So, yeah. So I would just get into AEW Rampage. Jon Moxley versus Anthony Bowens. The crowd was hot for Jon Moxley. Max Caster's freestyle was always entertaining. To start the match.
I was on point tonight.
Yeah.
Go back to the garbage indies. Obviously talked about his wife to begin with. The network called and they said to watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth. Yeah.
I was geeking through this whole thing. I loved it.
I love the Acclaim. I can't wait for their tag team championship run. But
it's coming. It's got to be coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. We were talking in the Wrestling Never Sleeps group chat, and one thing I said was this meaningless match with zero build between Anthony Bowens and Jon Moxley was better than 98% of what was going on Monday Night Raw on SmackDown. It was
Well,
just
both.
better.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, for sure. The Reigns and Rollins segment was really the only thing. Uh, the worst part that we didn't even touch on, and we really don't have to, is the Insane segment. That was ridiculously.
I totally forgot that happened because he's feuding with Johnny Knoxville, and I want none of it.
Right. Uh, I mean, Moxley, he's special, and now he has this sympathy of everybody, and this the respect of everybody, I should say, not sympathy. I don't think he would want the sympathy, but he's got the respect of everybody for doing the right thing and taking care of himself and
Including
coming
Charles
back in
Barkley.
better shape.
You hear
Right.
Charles Barkley's very proud of John Moxley.
And that's awesome that people are reaching out, and it was a great match, and he's in much better shape than he was when he left. So, um, I like the tease at the end of this too. After the match, backstage, when it cut to Bryan Danielson watching the screen.
Oh, this is what I wrote. I wrote about that. A wrestler finally watched TV the correct way. He was watching the screen. You know, like in WWE, they just look at do like this
Right.
weird angled.
Uh huh.
Yeah, they finally watched TV the right way.
Turned around to the camera and smiled, and
Yeah.
I got excited. That was the first backstage segment I've seen in 3 weeks now that we've been doing this. That I was like, okay, that's awesome.
I'm curious to know how much does Daniel Bryan get paid to fly to Ohio, watch television for 2 seconds, and then go home?
Enough to make us sick if we heard the number.
Right? What a great job! What a great job! But even the in ring action with this match, great opening match. Zero story need to be told, but it was just very exciting, very hard hitting. Moxie looks great. He looks like he can legit kick people's ass, which is cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed this feud, and I think that even like the acclaimed Anthony Bowens, like they can lose, but it's like cool because they have so much time to like grow, and I don't think anyone gets hurt in this one.
Definitely not. I mean, you don't make Moxley lose. Obviously,
Yeah.
Anthony Bowens, like you said, they're on their way up. They are really able to let their character and their promo skills build them. Win, lose, or draw, they're getting elevated just by being on TV every week, and they're doing it themselves. He didn't need Moxley to put him over.
No.
He's putting himself over, and that's why they're in the positions that they're in. Uh, you know, Getting that air time and fighting somebody like a Moxley.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed this match. And this is an overall good show, but definitely a great start for the for Rampage tonight. And then the next segment was Andrade. He goes into Mr. Stink, as he calls him. He goes to
Your boss stink.
yeah, Mr. Stink, his dressing room, and Darby Allin's there is chilling, and he was like, "Hey, man, we don't really want to deal with you. Like, we have dignity here. Money doesn't mean much to us." And then he pulls out a bat. And I'm curious to know where this is kind of going with the whole Andrade Sting on Darby Allin stuff.
Yeah, that kind of confused me. I guess I just missed whatever happened in the beginning. They offered him a contract on an iPad, bit of contract.
Yeah.
I guess they were going to e-sign it or whatever. But anyway, the very intriguing in a way, but also confusing and something I'm just.
Because Andrade's gimmick
I
isn't like he's a money
I
guy.
don't
He's
know.
not like the $1 million man here. He's not. That's not his
Right,
gimmick.
And it's like they're making him into that, and they later on they talk about him and Matt Hardy, kind of going together to buy everything, all the resources in order to take over AEW. So I don't know what they're working with there, but I'm not a fan of the whole money Matt Hardy thing.
I hate that.
really-
I just hate all that stuff.
Right.
I really do hate the Matt Hardy family office. Like,
And I thought that they were kind of getting through that, and in hopes that a Hardy Boys reunion type thing, which everybody's going to want to see. But I don't know where that came from. It's a story that I kind of joined into with. This might be the second week of it or whatever, but interested to see where it goes. Just because why not? it was something that wasn't drawn out. He went in the locker room, offered the contract. Darby said, "Screw off," and they were on to the next segment.
Yeah. Do you think that they could do more, or should they be doing more with Andrade right now? I mean, because for what it's worth, he left WWE for this.
You know, personally, I've never been a huge fan of Andrade. It's easy for me to
Andrade El
say.
Idolo, Mr. Charlotte, to you, sir.
And I mean, you can't deny that he can go in the ring and he can talk his way into a segment or through a segment. But um, I guess AEW has this very unique ability to slow burn things, and I think that's what they're doing here, slowly introducing him and just finding his fit in AEW.
Yeah.
It's a huge roster, and they're just seeing if they can find a spot for him to be on there weekly. I think, and um, weird right now, but maybe it'll work out.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Like AEW has really good problems is that they have so much going on that they have time to really kind of cultivate their guys. Like I think Andrade at some point is going to be something at least, and he definitely has more potential than what he ever could in WWE. So, but yeah, I kind of just hope that they can get rid of the Matt Hardy stuff, get away from the Matt Hardy stuff. And speaking of Matt Hardy, do you think like because I just don't want to see Matt Hardy anymore. Like I know he's a legend. I know he's got so much to give to the industry, but there's just really like it just nothing special about seeing him at all. Like does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with his gimmick because I feel the same way. Like now he's just a manager, and I don't even want to see him doing the talking for the private party because private party's entertaining.
Yeah,
I love their entrance, by the way, but the thing I would like to see, is just Matt Hardy go away for a month or two,
and Jericho,
and let's start reintroducing the broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero, right? I know it's been done. I enjoy it. I think AEW could do it a different way than what we saw in Impact, and a different way than what Woken Matt Hardy and whatever. I guess it was still just Jeff Hardy in WWE.
Yeah.
Because they would get those characters back, but they would also have their control over them.
Yeah.
Much like they did in Impact. And it'd be on a bigger scale, being with AEW. And it'd be a way, of course, for us to see the Hardy Boys again.
Yeah, I think it's probably the gimmick that's really the problem, is that nobody cares for this Hardy family office gimmick. But
right, it's so much different than what he's ever been, and it's just not something I picture Matt Hardy in.
Yeah, I would agree. I think at this point, he's kind of like at the legendary status where you don't even want to really boo him. You want to kind of like just appreciate him, and he used to kind of like he has bad go away heat to me right now, just because it's like he's a heel, and it's just like it's a stupid gimmick, and he's just out of place right now.
It's that change the channel heat.
It's definitely changed the channel.
That's not good, and I feel horrible that he had to debut when there was no fans, because nobody. I think that would have been a huge pop when that drone came in, because I loved it, because I was like, oh, we're gonna get broken Matt Hardy back.
Yeah.
And we never fully got that. It was teased for a couple weeks, but then it's hard to do something like that gimmick when there's no people around.
Yeah. Instead, we got cheesy used car salesman Matt Hardy.
Right. So I think that hopefully eventually they go, just give him a couple weeks off, month off, so they can get Jeff Hardy back in and get them together.
Yeah, one last run of the Hardy Boys would be amazing. One last tag team run. They've earned it. They deserve it. And shit, while we're at it, let's get the Dudley Boys back together. I would love to see that in AEW. Dudleys, Hardys, and then like some new school stuff. Jurassic Express, maybe. Maybe you got. There's so many tag teams you can just run it with.
Speaking of the Dudleys, have you seen Bubba lately?
I know he's had some heat on the internet.
He's like in the best shape he's ever been in.
Really?
Yeah.
But you know what? I think Devon's signed with WWE. He's like an agent backstage or something.
Yeah, I think he's an agent. I think he had a stroke a
Really?
couple years ago.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. Something like that. Yeah.
So I'm not even sure he could wrestle, but it'd
Yeah.
still be cool to see him together.
So we won't be getting Edge and Christian either.
Uh,
Because Adam is in mixed gender matches for the Royal Rumble. So Adam Copeland, not Adam Anthony James Martin, for those who care.
Baby.
Bay. But yeah, moving forward with this, we had FTR versus the Private Party match. A match I didn't necessarily care about going into it. I didn't really pay attention to the tag teams. I wasn't really familiar with the well, I've seen Brock Anderson before around, and who's his partner?
Lee Johnson.
Lee Johnson, yeah. But this was a good all-around professional wrestling match. What'd you think of it?
I agree. You know, we even was kind of texting back and forth with it in the chat. Like, I thought it was a really weird tag team at first.
Yeah,
you know,
that's how I felt.
I was like, oh, okay, it's Arn Anderson managing his son, and then they just threw somebody in with him, and maybe that is what happened, but they worked.
Yeah,
in a weird way. You know, that they jailed together, and I think it goes back to, as I said, FTR being who they are. FTR being able to carry anybody, and you know, they even talk about it on the commentary team there, that FTR can change their style, and you know, there's a whole lot of truth in that. It's not just trying to build the gimmick or trying to sell them on TV. No matter who they work against, they change their style, right? Now, they're still true to themselves, but they can work however you want them to work. And I think that tonight they proved that, because they take these two guys that really limited TV time and made them look like superstars.
Here's my question I had, because you know, there's one part of wrestling that's like fandom, and we love certain guys, and we love certain teams, and we love certain setups. But at the other end, it's also a business where people have to draw, and you have to make money off these people. So my question was I'm watching this FTR match, and I think FTR is a great tag team. They're a callback to like the very much old school tag teams. Mm-hmm. My question is FTR marketable?
I think as this old school tag team that, you know, the rough around the edges, kind of a diamond in the rough type of deal. You know, they're very short-tempered. You know, that's part of their gimmick. They kind of run their mouth online, all that kind of thing. But I think they're marketable in a certain way to a certain market as the heel team. And you know, you got to find a spot on your roster for a team that can elevate the tag team division, no matter who the tag team is across from them.
Yeah,
because whether or not they're the main staple in it, or just somebody that is used to elevate the guys that you are marketing.
So that's the thing. I feel like that's how they're being used, but I just know there's more to them than that. You know, like they're being used to kind of like get other guys over and stuff and have great matches, but it's not like you promote FTR as
right.
It's not that. So I'm thinking like, what is it about them? Because they're not. I feel like they're not where they're supposed to be.
Right, and you know that may come down to, just like AEW has a huge roster for singles competition, they have a very healthy tag team division.
Yeah,
they have a tag team division that's like I'd like to see in WWE because of all the talent that's in WWE.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of stuff that we want to see in the WWE, but. You know, I think they had their turn when they first came in, and maybe they're getting shuffled. Maybe they're getting a little bit lost in the shuffle right now, but they're still on TV putting on matches like this, elevating others. So I think they're doing their current job, and the more they do that current job and they do it as well as they did tonight, it's just a matter of time before we see them back in the title hunt for the tag team titles, or with, you know, some kind of storyline that means something.
Yeah, because they definitely have to be a mainstay because they're just really too good.
Right.
So next up, we had it turned into That Bitch Show, and we had the TBS champion Jade Cargill versus Julia of Varsity Blondes, and this was a pretty much a glorified squash match. I'm still waiting to see Julia show that eye off, and it's like, are you going to be part of Malachi Black's group or whatnot? But Jade Cargill still very green in the ring, but I mean, man, she's a star. I think she's got a lot of star power.
Yeah, I have it in my notes. A star. What's in my notes is intimidating. She has that presence.
Yeah.
She one athlete and whatever she wants to be the D1 athlete in,
Yeah.
And before I get too far into that, I also have a note here that I don't know how I haven't caught it before. Her manager's name,
Smart Mark.
Smart Mark Sterling.
Yeah.
Smart Mark Sterling. I only caught onto that tonight and then kind of popped for it a little bit. But back to Jade, it's just intimidating, scary. I don't want to wrestle her.
No.
She could toss me around the ring.
Yeah.
But normally I'd be pissed off with somebody doing like the push-ups, all that kind of thing in the ring, just because it takes away from the match. But this match was meant to be a squash match. It was meant to continue to build Jade Cargill and maybe hide how green she really is right now. So I think this match did nothing but help her, and it didn't hurt Julia Hart because the size difference. Nobody expected Julia to come in and win. At least I wouldn't think so.
No.
And she, of course,
was this for the title? It was for the title, right? It was a title match.
Yeah, this was because AEW loves putting so many titles. This was AEW Rampage Beach Break Championship Friday.
Oh, okay, got you.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, well, so they have to sell it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I at least believe it was for the title. I can't 100% say that, stamp that on there, but
yeah.
Again, glorified squash match for the title. We believe the continued build for Jade Cargill, and I think it did exactly what it needed to do.
Yeah, I would agree. And even Jade Cargill, she's still like very new to the industry, very new to the business, but I like that they really kind of gave her the football to run it with, and I think she's done a pretty good job. She just really has that star power, and you don't really need to have like crazy long matches with her. These are matches that can work. I think people really just want to see her on TV. She's got a unique look. She's got the storm hair, and if need be, she's a manager who can talk for her. So,
right.
Again, most people don't like the kind of people just getting thrown in there because of how they look, and they might not be really fans. But ultimately, I think AEW has done a good job protecting her and how she's presented on TV. And
I mean, she already has that, like, okay, who's going to come in here and take this title off of her feel, right?
Yeah.
And the title's only been around for 2 or 3 weeks. She's only been around a handful of weeks or more than that, and she already has that presence. So whatever they're doing, it's right. I think in booking her this way, you got to be careful if you put a title on somebody that you have to protect in a match. Not saying that they even have to do that, but I just haven't seen enough of her working to know one way or the other. But again, I think they're doing the right thing with her.
And here's the ironic part about this: she's I think a year into the business, and she's TBS champion, first ever TBS champion. They show the graphic of she's 26-0. So right now, as already constructed, she now has the ability to put someone else over, which is pretty cool. Right. She has the ability to elevate somebody else just by her, I guess, her aura of just being who she is.
By that quick build, it's almost I hate to say this and not trying to draw comparisons, but it's almost that Goldberg.
I was about to say that, yeah, Goldberg, yeah.
Because they could have made somebody else's career like they made Goldberg by being on an undefeated streak, but instead they made Kevin Nash be the one that defeated, ended the streak. But we won't talk about that. But so anyway,
well, that's the great thing is that I think Tony Khan's a student of the game, so he gets to learn what not to do from the past. So that's a plus. So it'll be interesting to see who knocks off Jade Cargill eventually. She'll probably ring up like 50 wins or something like that before someone actually beats her. It'll probably be like a big time name or something. You know, it might be Ember Moon or Tony Storm or someone important. So good for them. So to quote the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, it is now time for the main event.
Gotta sell that merch.
You gotta sell that merch. So we have Private Party versus the AEW Tag Team Champions. Jurassic Express, sorry. And
Pulled me last. That's what I did last time.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. And they come to the ring. They're accompanied by Christian. And this was a very good main event. Nice, nice back and forth match.
It was, and I have in my notes here that the segment before the match, before we got our Mark Henry line, there's a little bit of too much talk about ass pounding or pounding ass.
That was weird. Yeah, that was very weird. That's gonna be on WrestleBotch.
It was
Monday.
awkward, and I just love the fact that Jungle Boy even acknowledged it. He's like, "Oh, okay, you're gonna keep talking about pounding my ass." So that's the only reason I even put it in my notes, because it gave me a chuckle. But
that's
anyway,
gonna be WrestleBotch for sure.
Back to not being a 9-year-old. The match started out kind of crazy, I thought, because they kind of jumped the gun with them because of the Gun Club and hit their finish right off the bat. So they start the match with a fresh Jungle Boy kicking out of their finish. So don't ever say Private Party never gave Jurassic Express anything, because they let them kick out of their finish.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the match,
straight at the beginning. Yeah.
But then, like you said, it went into a good back and forth match. I had no issues with it. We only saw one destroyer tonight, which that's a plus. You know, that's last couple weeks. There's been like two or three times a night. But I mean, I guess anytime you have Jungle Boy and Adam Cole on the same card, there's a chance of that happening.
Yeah.
I didn't take many notes. I just thoroughly enjoyed watching the match. You know, it was one of those matches where, again, there was a lot of action, a lot of heavy hitting, high flying, exactly what you'd expect from a Jurassic Express and a Private Party match. And I liked how strong the Gun Club looked after the match, right? And so now you have a clear number one contender for the tag title. It's not any guessing. It's going to be the Gun Club, whether that's Rampage next week or Dynamite next week or a couple weeks from now, whatever it's going to be. They had a solid match. Now they're building and just moving straight through to the next team.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to build the entire tag team division. Just kind of like circling guys back and forth and things like that. So how do you think it's going to fare next week?
As far as that match?
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested to see it, because I really don't know a lot about the Gun Club. I know they've been kind of working their way through the indies right now, and I know that they're not, you know, they haven't been much of a mainstay on TV wise. You know, I've seen them a lot during the COVID time where they were in the crowd and just kind of doing their own thing. But, you know, I'm interested to see what they can do in the ring. I know they've had a couple matches, but I don't think they've ever been able to showcase themselves like they will be able to against the tag team champions. You know, Jurassic Express, another team that they're a very unique dynamic when you got that small guy and you got this big ass dinosaur guy that can move and do things that people his size shouldn't be able to do. So, you know, you take that and then add on top of that the layer that they can work with anybody, and it's a good match. You know, it's not necessarily a style match that's my cup of tea sometimes, but they can get the crowd into it, and the crowd's always behind them. And, you know, that's going to do nothing but help the Gun Club. Obviously, they're going to lose. But again, it goes back to the same thing we had with that opening match with Moxley.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to lose going into it, but you don't care because you know it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, I feel
and
like their
that's where
dad's gonna
AEW
ensure
is.
that they look good in a loss because he has the
Right,
experience to know how to do that. Like, okay,
right,
you're gonna lose, but you're not gonna bury yourself in a loss.
right. And this is their first real. I mean, like I said, I know they've had matches on there, but this is their first real shot at a title, so it's their first real big exposure on national TV. So um, I can't say that it's a match that I would go out of my way to watch. I'd have to be watching the show, um,
Yeah.
but it's not going to be something that's going to make me change the channel. Not like in Zane or
Oh God.
Madcap Moss or
Yeah.
Gender and Shanky.
Yeah.
The only thing like I said in the Snapchat, the only so it's I hate to dog on SmackDown so much, but I just have not seen a good SmackDown since I've started watching WWE again. And
It is
I enjoyed Raw. I
awful.
enjoyed Raw this week. I really did enjoy Raw this week overall.
Yeah.
But not. SmackDown is just the drizzling shits.
And what's funny about this is, like we said earlier, is like SmackDown was shitty, but SmackDown is also a show that's packed with stars. You had Sasha Banks on the show. You had Charlotte on the show. You had Seth Rollins on the show. You had Roman Reigns on the show.
And I think that's what blows my mind more than anything is that they have the star power that it should be like the early 2000, 2002, early 2003 SmackDown, where they could really be kicking Raw's ass.
Yeah.
In ring, promo, behind the scenes, anything that they really wanted to do, but they're not because the stories, the writers
they're bad.
Killing
like,
SmackDown.
Could you imagine if Rampage had those four names alone?
Oof.
Yeah. They're pulling 1.5, 2 million views.
Oh,
I think.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And SmackDown's doing the numbers that they're doing, which is amazing to me because of what it is. Just if that group of people that just could maybe accidentally see a Rampage, like the Rampage episode we saw tonight.
Yeah.
How many of that 2 million that SmackDown gets on a pretty consistent basis, around that 2 million mark, would be tuning into AEW either right after or instead. It's amazing what being on Fox can do for you.
Yeah, that definitely matters. And especially they promote the hell out of that show the whole week on football, on on the different shows. So very difficult to compete with that. Before we wrap up, what would you rate SmackDown? What would you rate Rampage for tonight?
SmackDown, I joked around with you saying a much lower number. I'm going to give it. Yeah, I'm going to say 1 star.
Yeah.
Solely because of the end, and it made me want to see that match even that much more tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm gonna give them a 2 just because people showed up. That's like, I know it's hard to like put the ring together and take it away and all this stuff. I'll give them a 2 just because they showed up, but.
So you're giving it a 2 for the ring crew.
2 for the ring crew, yeah. If there's no ring crew, it would have been a 1. But yeah, it's just like this is a go home show to a Big 4 premium live event, and outside of the main segment, the main event segment, just rubbish. It's just bad. This is like what
right.
like
that, and of course the next big thing was Sasha Banks returning.
Yeah.
But that got ruined by a shitty looking brawl. Like I realized tonight why Shayna Baszler is where she's at. She can't throw a punch. She can't throw a kick. She wouldn't have.
I will not tolerate Shayna Baszler slander on this podcast. Damn it.
She would not have burst a bubble with the punches she was throwing tonight.
Well, why not have her be like a serious, just vicious grappler? And she
can't be when she's throwing kicks and punches like that.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah. Shayna Baszler, how you fall from grace? She could have been female Brock to me, in my opinion, but that ship has sailed.
Yes.
So, and Rampage, what would you rank it? What would you rate it?
I'm gonna say 3.5.
Three and a
I
half.
really I'm so timid. I don't think I'll ever give a 5, and I'm timid to go into that 4 area. But it was a very solid 1 hour that kept my attention the whole time.
Yeah.
I think 3.5 is probably the highest I've rated anything so far that was out of 5. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I genuinely enjoyed watching it. And without, I mean, the main star power was in the first match with Moxley. So to be able to keep my attention and not have anybody that's necessarily a main star. I mean, other than Jurassic Express, but that's a little bit different than what we're.
Yeah, I would say it was a very,
Great
very
show.
solid hour of wrestling for sure. Like, it just easy to watch. It's not too long, and it's not overly like, even like the segments I didn't like. It's like at least they're over in like 2 seconds. They didn't drag out.
And maybe that's part of what's going on their side right now is that they got 3 hours of TV every week. I don't feel like it's a chore to sit down and watch because, like I say, it's an hour. So it's match, short little segment, match. Even Dynamite being 2 hours, you got a couple really good matches that go that 15-minute mark. You have segments that don't feel spread out. Filler every now and again, but when you get like on SmackDown or Raw, and there's filler segments that just draw out forever. I mean, when you think about Raw, I mean that's a pay-per-view length, traditional pay-per-view length every Monday night.
It's freaking Game of Thrones every week.
Right. So it blows my mind that one, they even went to that, and the two, that it's been that as long as it has. And it's no wonder that we feel like it's a chore to watch because could you imagine writing, if you're on the Raw team, writing 3 hours of TV every single week and trying to come up with something new,
and then it gets ripped up in your face like an hour before the show, and you got to start from scratch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think
I think 3.5. A high 3.5 is a fair assessment. It's not a 5. Not really a 4. Just I think it was kind of missing the star power outside of Jon Moxley, but the great action, storylines progressed, and they at least tried to make some type of sense of what was going on in their show. So yeah, I give it a 3.5 as well. So with that being said, we have a show tomorrow, and it's a special show. It's a watch-along premium live event. The 2022 Men's and Women's Royal Rumble and the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in general. I don't know why I said it, men's and women's, but yeah, you guys have to definitely stick around for that. Make sure you check out our Royal Rumble watch-along. We're going to have the whole entire crew, and we're going to be talking through the entire pay-per-view. And it's going to be fun because we're going to do the Royal Rumble drinking game, which is my favorite part every year of the Royal Rumble. So, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. It helps us. Dang, that's loud. It helps us. It helps us, get other wrestling fans involved and whatnot. And make sure you hit the notification bell to know when we're dropping other videos. For the coach, Travis Liller, I am Jared Never Sleeps. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, it's still real to me, damn it. Try this again.